Imagine yourself on a jury, having to decide between the plaintiff and the defendant. Your job is to weigh all the evidence and decide between the two. As a juror, you must approach the evidence fairly and without a preconceived bias. One strand of evidence alone will not suffice in making your decision. You will have to hear the totality of all the evidence. But what would you do if the preponderance of evidence points in one direction? Suppose in this case there are eyewitnesses, an admission of guilt, fingerprints, video footage, DNA evidence. What if the stack of proof was insurmountable and the opposing side had not a shred of evidence to support their view? How long would you wait for more evidence to come in? Months, years, decades? Understand that the losing side has a vested interest, and it is their job to cast doubt on the evidence, no matter how insurmountable it is. Knowing that, would you not examine that argumentation with all the more scrutiny? No doubt you would. It is the same when it comes to deciding the evidence on when Jerusalem was destroyed. In this case, consider yourself the jury. In the previous 12 videos, we examined the case from the Bible and boiled it down to basically two interpretations. On one side, the standard Bible chronology arguing for 587 BC. On the other side, the argument that Jerusalem was destroyed in 607 BC. To accept one and reject the other is not to accept or reject the Bible over the historical evidence. It is to accept one Bible interpretation over the other. The Bible contains no absolute dates. Events in Bible chronology are measured relative to a frame of reference, such as the year of the reigning monarch. For instance, Jerusalem was destroyed in the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. By examining the Neo-Babylonian record, we can find absolute dates that pinpoint when Nebuchadnezzar reigned, and then we can synchronize this to Bible chronology. Another example of how the Bible does not give an absolute date is the fall of Babylon. That the Bible speaks about the fall of Babylon, there is no doubt, but it does not give an absolute date for this event. However, everyone on both sides of this argument agree that this occurred in 539 BC. Those who uphold the 607 BC argument determine the 539 BC fall of Babylon by using the following method. First, they take two lunar eclipses found on the astronomical tablet BM 33066. To find the 7th year of Cambyses. Thus, they derive an absolute date of 523 BC. Working backward, they calculate that his first regnal year was 529 BC. Thus, his father, Cyrus, would have had his last regnal year in 530 BC. Second, using cuneiform business tablets from that period containing the month, day, year of the reigning monarch, they can calculate the length of Cyrus's reign and find that he overthrew Babylon in 539 BC. Again, there is no way of determining this date from the Bible. The secular record is essential for synchronization. By using the same method, that of looking at astronomical diaries, as well as the thousands of cuneiform business tablets from that period, we can confirm when Jerusalem was destroyed. To accept such a method to determine when Babylon fell, and yet reject that same method for determining when Jerusalem fell, would be highly inconsistent. We would be guilty of confirmation bias, of picking and choosing among the evidence until we get an answer more to our liking, rather than the truth. If Jerusalem was not destroyed in 587 BC, but 20 years previously, in 607 BC, this would mean that Nebuchadnezzar's 18th year was 607 BC. This would shift not only the start of Nebuchadnezzar's reign backward 20 years, but that of his father, Nabopolassar. And that would have implications for the Assyrian rulers who reigned before Nabopolassar. Also, if Nebuchadnezzar's reign is moved backward, it would open up a 20-year gap in the Neo-Babylonian chronology. It would mean that either one, Nebuchadnezzar or his successors ruled longer than the historical records reveal, or two, there were other kings in the Neo-Babylonian dynasty unknown to history. Or it could mean both. 20 years would be a huge gap in the chronology. However, is this what the evidence shows? For this, we will examine the Neo-Babylonian chronology, using the same methods for determining the fall of Babylon. And we will start by looking at the absolute dates yielded by archaeoastronomy.